Hello, I'm architect Maria Tesova and I'm part of the team of EcoSpace. Today I will show you how to make a bungalow and the environment around it. I will show you one of the most important tools needed to make a model of a building. SketchUp gives us powerful tools for the buildings and for the environment. First we begin with importing a file that we'll use as a referential one, a picture of our building project. File, import, we search for our file on the computer and then we insert it. I click with the left button of my mouse, then stretch it in the direction that I need and click a second time to finish the command. I will use this file as a referential one, as you may have a sketch on a drawing in the real life. Here I will see all the sizes that I need for my model, and I will begin to work with tape measure 2. It is one of the most important and useful tools for any designer. It works like clicking on a line on an axis that is a referential one, showing a direction and then typing the measure that we need. I will use these referential lines to build up a cross point that would be the beginning point of my drawing. I click on the red axis, show a direction, and click second time to stop the command. Then the same thing with the green axis, and now I have this point that is beginning one for my drawing of the model. And I start with creating the base for my model. I would start with clicking from the outside part to the inside, typing the size and then clicking enter. So to conclude, we have to click on the starting line, then show at the direction, left the mouse and type from the keyboard our number of the size. Then click enter and we will end the command and we will see that we have a referential line. It is a very important sequence that should be remembered and will save us a lot of time. I will now continue drawing the lines that will be a base lines for my walls. Now I would see the sizes and type it again with the tape measure tool. The same thing on the other side. And now I will make the whole length of the bungalow. Typing the measure, clicking enter. Repeating all the process as many times as needed. Now I will begin drawing the outlines of the walls with the line tool. It looks like a pencil. I could use a rectangle tool, but it is up to you to choose which one is more useful to you. Now I will use the referential lines to make the contour of the walls. We should be very careful of showing the cross points correctly, because if we do not do it so, our drawing wouldn't be proper. That's why we should look for intersection sign, which is a red cross or X, and the name type near the tip of the pencil. So we should be always aware of being precise when using intersections. That's how our drawing would be precise and of course correct. Now I will demonstrate how to make lines that are referential ones from already drawn outline of the walls. The process is the same. I click with type measure 2, show direction, and then type the measure and ending with enter. The same thing I will do on the other side, and this is how I make all the interior walls. I will now finish the drawing with the line tool, which is the pencil. Now is the moment that I should delete all the lines that I do not need in order to keep only the surface that I want to push-pull up in order to make the object from 2D1 to 3D1. I delete all the unnecessary lines and I leave only the lines that I need as an outline of the surface that I will pull up. The height would be 260 and I will use exactly push-pull tool. It is one of the main tools, but before that, look at the surfaces. If the drawing now is in gray color, I will now reverse the faces in order to make the upper one in white. I take the select tool, select all the elements, right button on the mouse on the object, and then reverse faces. And in the moment the surfaces above are in white, which make them active, and I can begin working with the push-pull. It transforms a surface from 2D to 3D, so it changes basically the dimensions. I show upper direction and then type 260 centimeters. In the moment we have drawn all the objects that are the outline resource for the bungalow as a 3D model. Now I should make a roof and a floor. I will begin with the floor. I must make 3 clicks with the mouse on the objects, right click and make object. Now all the walls are one object and I will draw a base contour on the most outside lines, and this contour is out of the group of the walls. I will choose this object now with the lines and the surface of the floor, right click and make group. Now I will make it 3D, giving it dimension. We continue with making the terrace or the porchway by clicking on the side, showing direction, and with push-pull tool we make it to the front line of the outline of the wall. As you may see, I could show a referential point or line in order to make it the same size. That's the way that I organize my objects and elements in different groups in order to be easier to work with them. I will move my walls in order to start from the place that they should. I will click on Move To. I will select the higher point. I will show with my buttons for the directions on the keyboard up, and then I will type the measure. Now they're all fit and on place. Now I should make a rectangle on the top, then take push pull, show the direction and give a measure. And then I have to group my elements. I click with 3 clicks, then right click and make group. That's how my group would be an object that is working completely independently from the other groups and elements. Now I will extrude with push pull tool on all the sizes, and after showing the first measure I could double click and show the other surfaces, and they would be automatically extruded by the same size. I will now draw lines that would be the geometry of the roof. I will choose middle points from the one side to the other. I create some kind of a grid that would be a very helpful way to make the geometry in the right way. This is the shortest way to make a simple roof. With Select Tool, I would remove all the lines that I would not need anymore. I choose Move Tool and I choose the middle point of the middle line in the center of the roof. Then click on the keyboard with the upper key to show the direction, because in other way it would be difficult to choose the direction. Now I will give my measure. My size would be 140. Now I have a 3D roof. And then I should make the openings of my building. I enter in the group with double click and then click with rectangle tool and give the measures that are needed. And remember to work in the group, because if I try to make it outside of it, it would be a different surface and the elements wouldn't be connected, so I wouldn't be able to work with them. That's why I begin again. So I will choose to work with the group of the walls. I will choose starting point. Then I will choose a direction and will give the sizes of both length and height. You can see the numbers in the right down corner of the screen as I type it. Then I will click on push pull tool, choose it and extrude the surface to the inside, making it as deep as the inner surface. That's how it would disappear and I will make my openings. It is a simple but very effective way of making any openings for windows and doors. I will choose 3D warehouse as a very useful way to find a ready-to-use elements, furniture and others as windows and doors, but I will choose to search within advanced settings, searching for live component, then choosing models. I choose leaf component because it would give me the chance to change some of the measures, height, weight, it depends on the model. And I can choose configure or download the direct version. I will choose configure and I will type the measures that I need. You see that we have buttons and tools that help us see the model, so you can observe it from all its sides. Now in this menu I can change the color. You see we have a palette, and with this circle I could change it as manipulate the darkness as well. I will choose black and gray, then I will change the other measures for you in order to see what changes in the model. Actually, we will see in real time what measure is changed in the model menu. Here I have the main sizes. I could type it by hand. You see, I can change even the parts of the window in order to adjust them to the design that I look for. I could change the length and the proportion of the window. I will type 700. I have different variation of the window. As I'm ready with the model, I could click download and I will put the window in the opening in the wall. You should be aware to keep aligned the elements, so it is very easy to use down point from one of the sides. Now I can copy the element by choosing the move tool, clicking Ctrl and then choosing the new place of the second copy. This is the fastest and easiest way to do it. Then I will make the other openings for the doors. I will use now tape measure tool for the wall so that I could type the size and the line that will be the starting one for the opening. I will click on a rectangle tool, click on the starting point and writing down the sizes. With push-pull tool again, I will show direction to the inside and I will align with the back surface and it would be automatically deleted. Again, from the 3D warehouse, I will choose door. I will search for leaf component in the advanced options, models, and then I choose the design that suits my model. I will configure it here in this window. Choosing a color that suits me. And then typing the measures. The depth is a very important size because it should be aligned with the wall. The other size is standard. By changing any of the parameters, you can see on the window on the left that the door changes with every single typing of a different size or choosing a color. We have even the choice to change some of the design of the lines and the opening, as I can choose an angle. I have the options to change the door handle in order to be left one or right one, and even to show how it's opened. So this is a very useful feature. Working with interior, now I will click download, then I will align with some of the lines. I will click on the rotate tool, show direction, rotate with the mouse and click second time. Then I will move the door in order to keep it aligned with the opening. That's the way to make any door, no matter if it is an outside one or from the interior. Here I make one of the interiors opening, downloading again a leaf component, typing the measures, they are different from the first one, and of course keeping it aligned with the opening and the wall. I could change some of the colors in order to make them the same. I could take the code of the color, as many architects and designers work. I double click on the door, I choose color, and then I copy the code. Then I close this window and double click on the second door. There is the menu, and in the place of the color I will change the code by pasting the first one. These colors are very useful for any designer and architect by keeping the same colors through different materials and objects. I will change even the windows. By the same principle, I will continue with the other windows. I will make some referential lines, typing the numbers from the keyboard. Now I will put a second line that would be the end of my window. Then I would make some side lines to show the starting and the ending point of the opening. I repeat the same process on the other side for the second window, typing the numbers. They are automatically shown on the down part of the window on the right side. Now I will choose the rectangle tool, make in a very fast way 2 rectangles, and then with push-pull tool again as in the doors I will pull to the inside. I will choose again a component from the 3D warehouse. Again from the advanced option leaf component. This time I will choose single pane window, configure it from the window. I will paste the already chosen color, and then I will type the sizes. When it's ready, I will download it and align it with the upper point. I will use Move tool and Control to copy the window. Now I will make the materials on the elements, and I have to keep in mind that I should open ungroup and then work with it. I have many materials in folders that are structured by the type of the material, so I will start by searching for a material for the roof. I choose the material, and with the paint bucket tool I will just click on the surfaces that I want to be in this material. I could change even the sizes of the material, as it is basically a pattern. Now I will choose a wood. And we'll continue with using the paint bucket tool so that I could change all the elements with the proper material. I will enter the group, choose from the folder a proper material, it would be some bricks. You have a variety of choices. You can even insert a material as a picture. Now I will put a material on the floor as well, entering the group first and then choosing with the paint bucket tool the needed material. I will now choose a material for the sides of the floor. It would be a concrete one to give a more structural vision. We can even make a plinth of the building, as it is very usual for this type of bungalow. I will make the length, then I will create the surfaces with rectangle tool. I will delete the lines that I don't need, and I will continue. You may see that there are parts that we are not seeing very well. That's why we should zoom in and check for the proper point. I continue on the other walls and zoom even more to be accurate. Each time that, intentionally or not, we make an outline, it would be created a surface. That's why sometimes when I drew these lines, there is a new surface that I delete. Now is the moment for the details. I could make a chimney. I could draw it outside of the model and then insert it. That's why I will draw on the right of my model using rectangle, typing the sizes that I need, and then I will use offset tool, giving a direction to the inside, and again I will choose the size. I will click with 3 clicks on the elements, and with right click I will make them one group. Now I will change its place. I now move it higher so that I could see the profile. Now I will enter the group and will make it in 3D. You see all the other elements that are not in the group are in like grayish colors. Using push-pull tool, I will make it 3-dimensional object. Then, for even more realistic look, I could make some extrudes on the upper part with rectangle tool, and then with the push-pull tool given a size. Then double click on the other surfaces and they will automatically become extruded with the same size. Now I will go outside the group, choose it again, and then move it on the place that I need, choosing of course a point to move. I could give it a material, but keep in mind that if you not enter the group, the whole elements of it would be in one and the same material. If I want to change some of it, I could enter it and even delete some unnecessary details. In this way, I could even change and modify any surfaces from the elements, and of course I could make some interior. It's a very easy task from the 3D warehouse. Search for a table, download, and I will enter the room and place it there. Now I will show you an easier way to navigate. I will use the look around tool, which is an eye, and it basically by the same principle you can make an interior for all the rooms. Now we will continue with the terrain. To begin, I will delete all the referential lines because I don't need them. Some of these lines could be part of groups, so I should enter and delete them. The other one I could delete by select 2 and delete on the keyboard. If I'm ready with my building model, I could group it, right click and make group. Now I will move the object away from the cross point of the axis, and we'll start by making the water. Rectangle tool, and size is 1000 by 1000. This would be the base and the plane that is in the lowest point. Now I will choose paint bucket tool and look for water. If you see, the water has a variation that is with a diagonal. This is a symbol that it has some opacity and it is more realistic. I would group these objects. I will now demonstrate one of the most useful tools for landscape, which are the Sandbox Tools, and if you don't see them on the toolbar, you can insert them from View, Toolbars and Sandbox. These tools are a very powerful way to manage modeling a very complex terrains that are based on the realistic situation of our buildings. I will begin from scratch. I show direction. I will line it with the beginning of the water rectangle. I click, and now I will have a grid that I could change and modify depending on the heights and down points on the terrain. I will paint it in vegetations from the folder Landscaping, Fencing and Vegetation. The modifications are made by Smooth or Stamp Tool. Now I have to choose lines or points, even surfaces, that I want to be changed. As it could be in a real terrain. I will use Smooth Tool, choosing a direction, and you see that all the points in this area would be modified. I could choose some lines for the geometry of a river, and then when I choose a direction down, I will see the surface of the water. Keep in mind that as many lines, points and surfaces that you choose to modify, it could reflect on the productivity of your computer. So sometimes you can work with smaller groups. You can click Ctrl and Shift so that with the minus symbol you will delete some lines that you've already choose. Now I will choose the Smooth Tool, and when I make it down enough, I will see the river. I will make even more volumes on the terrain, and then moving them to the direction that I need. To modify even in more details, I could put in the surfaces an additional points and surfaces. You see that I have more complex geometry, and this gives me the chance to make it even more accurate and detailed as the real terrain. I will make a higher peak here. I could work with only points if I need to. The circle area would be modified. I will show you how to smooth the object, but we will make it later. I just demonstrated that we can make it even more realistic. Now I will make a rectangle on my floor in order to make the step that our building would have on the terrain. I will group it with Move to replace it up above the terrain, giving direction with the keyboard button up, and place it whenever and wherever it is necessary. I will use Rotate tool to relocate it in order to keep it on an angle that I need. Then I will use Move tool with Control to make a copy. When you click Control when you're with Move tool, you will see a plus sign near the tool sign. I will create a third one, which I want to place on the higher parts. My aim to show you what will happen when I will make the positioning of the building on the terrain. I click with Stamp tool, it is part of Sandbox. I show a surface, in the case this is the rectangle, and then the terrain. I have the options to change the terrain downwards and upwards. I will make the same with the second stump. I can modify the landscape many times, changing the directions and the height. And now let's see how we can make even a road. Look that all these changings of the terrain can not just be stamped downwards but upwards. This is important because sometimes it will make even more realistic our terrain. To begin with the road, I will make the rectangle with the second copy of the water. I click with Control and Move tool. Now I will use Arc tool as the fastest way to make the geometry of the road. Be aware of the directions that you show and all the lines to be connected in order to make a closed surface. I will copy all these lines if this is my road. Now I will have to close the surface with lines between the curves, because the line that is on the rectangle of the water doesn't connect with the lines above. I will even make a material. I will again put this geometry above the terrain on the place that I want to build my road. With Move and clicking the upper key on the keyboard, I will now show you some differences between the tools. If I use Stamp tool, it will make it look like a bridge, and it will be always on one height. The other way is to use Drape tool, which would be more convenient. I will show the surface and then the terrain, and now I have exact copy of the geometry placed on the terrain depending on each and every height of every point of it. I will now paint it with material. And would modify the terrain in order to be more softened. But first I will delete the useless objects. The moment came that I should place my building on the terrain. I will rotate the object on 45 degrees. Using the Drape Tool, clicking once, showing direction, rotating and clicking once again. You see now that all the bungalows are perfectly placed on the terrain. We have an realistic base and of course the line of the road. Now we have to smooth. Right click on the terrain. In the menu, soften edges, soften coplanar. Now we have finished terrain with place buildings. And we can of course continue with placing some objects from the environment, like plants, trees, some details of the roads. You have to keep in mind that every object makes the model bigger, and it could make working a bit more challenging, so keep in mind the characteristics of your computer. As you may see, SketchUp gives us many options of working, even of more complex objects, as we here in this example saw the most fast and easiest way of working for a building model. In the other webinars, we will go deeper to the methods that the architects and designers are working with when we talk about even more professional experience with the software. I wish you a success with the modeling and SketchUp. See you soon.